The New World Order really consists of three aspects. There is a New World political system that everyone today is calling the New World Order. As well as that, there is an economic plan for the New World Order, and that is called the New World Economic Order. In addition to those two items, there is a third plan for religion. You see, the planners of the world know that men need a religion of some kind, even if it's a false one. So they have a plan to give us a new age world global occultic religion. So really there's three aspects to this New World Order. A New World Economic Order in which a computer chip will be injected into our hands or foreheads as a means to track, control, and identify us, and will also be used to make our purchases and scan and stuff.
Well, they've already put the program in Los Angeles. In fact,
Right.
A trilateralist named Mayor Bradley, Uncle Tom Bradley, was responsible for putting this in dogs.
Right.
And your children will be considered like animals. And operating through the Council on Foreign
Right.
Relations, through the Trilateral
Right.
Commission, through the Club of Rome, through Global 2000, which wants to reduce the population of the planet by, 25%. 25, that's 1,250,000,000 people have to be exterminated by the year 2000.
Well, they can do that.
So essentially,
this technology.
This Illuminati then is the group of men who control not only all the money on the planet through all the world banks and the Federal Reserve and so on, but they control essentially all the governments. And so these men are planning to bring about a global form of government that's unique in all history. It's a total enslaving system of world communism and fascism, controlled by a hierarchy in Europe that Anthony calls what? The oligarchy.
Well, I call it the evil-archy.
The evil-archy.
The oligarchy of evil.
So these men are satanically inspired, and of course we get that term from the Bible, which means the devil. They're satanically inspired to bring about a global form of government to every nation on earth.
All right, Shalom. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. I want to give double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the 144,000, the rest of the elect. I'm the brother you wanted done, back with another quick lesson, Lord willing, it's edifying. And so the clip that you just watched, that video came from Rumble. You know, I'm hoping YouTube doesn't give me a strike for playing that short clip, but it is what it is. You know, that's Chariots. He was basically a whistleblower, all right, and an author. He had a couple books. One of the name of his books was The Mark of a New World Order, something to that effect. I believe that's the title. And, you know, basically he knew about the chip. He knew about the microchip implant being the mark of the beast. All right, which, by the way, at that time during the 90s, the apostles of Great Millstone, they was already teaching that. All right, they already knew about the mark of the beast being the microchip implant. All right, and knew about these devil's plans to chip the world. You see, so this is nothing new. This is nothing new. This is not a technological advancement. I mean, in a way it is, but it's not like some new, you know, smartphone or something like that. This is a deliberate plan by the elites, all right, the central banking families like the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, etc., which are Edomites according to the Bible, by the way. They're the devil and Satan that the Bible speaks of, and they're the ones that's going to be responsible for making that chip mandatory, all right, because that's their agenda, that's their plan. So, yeah, this guy also has a book called Beast Tech, all right, Terry L. Cook and Thomas Horn. They collaborated. They have a book called Beast Tech, and I'll probably bring a couple of points out of that book in between this lesson. But for now, I'm just going to read a couple of scriptures and make a few points, all right? This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. All right, so the word Satan in Hebrew is shaitan, which means adversary. And the Satan that is talking about here is none other than the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. Specifically, the top elite. All right, because they're the ones who have these devices. You know, when you go into that word devices, in the Greek there is noema, which basically is an evil plan. You know, when you read in the NLT, it says, so that Satan will not outsmart us. The us is talking about the hopeful elect, those of us that know the secrets of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, the prophecies, the will of the Lord. For we are familiar with his evil schemes. And that's another thing. This man had been evil scheming and plotting since he been in power. And we know his schemes already, man. It's like he uses the same playbook over and over again. He applies the same principles and you know, I don't even want to say the word moral, but lack of moral. He uses the same strategies, you know, towards everything. You know, he has the same approach and outlook towards everything because he's crooked. You know, he's the wicked in his mind. The scriptures tell you that his soul that is lifted up in him is not upright. You know, so his ways is very crooked, is very deceptive. And we're not ignorant to that, you know, and it says we are familiar. You see, so we know that they're going to bring that chip, man. We know that that chip, the RFID microchip implant, is the mark of the beast, and they're going to make it a law that everybody has to take it eventually. But at first, it's going to be voluntarily. Like right now in Sweden, you know, that's pretty much a cashless society. You know, when you look it up, I think they said only about 13% of transactions in Sweden, they're using physical paper money. So that's 87% of all their business transactions being done digitally. So these were all the gradual steps, you know, the conditioning, if you will, towards basically introducing a chip and then making it mandatory. Because that's what they're about to do. And yeah, there is going to be some type of cyber attack pandemic, cyber attack on the banking system, you know, to basically bring the Great Reset. All right? Like they had the documentary, it was called Grid Down, Power Up. And basically they were just exposing that it's very easy. America's power grid is very easy, it's vulnerable. You know, it's very easy to just shut it down. Whether that be by an EMP, an actual EMP, it could be a cyber attack, or it could be something like what just happened with the CrowdStrike software. You know, how that global IT outage, you know, or it could be all of them. At the end of the day, it's going to be a series of events, all right, that's going to lead to this chip being made mandatory. All right, and on the prophecy, I got it right here. This is Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. And really, when you read it up from verse 1, you know, you see the power structure of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, in the form of a beast. All right, the dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, which is NATO and the EU. But America is also a part of that, and that's how they control the world. All right, so they're going to make the chip mandatory in Britain. It may not be NATO. It's not going to be the EU that says, you know, you got to take this chip. The world leaders, the leaders of India, the leaders of China, etc., Russia, etc., they're going to make it mandatory under the order of the elites. All right, so you got to understand these things because it's the mark of the beast, right? But once again, it's going to be made mandatory in all the world, and it's not going to be an actual man sitting there saying, all you people got to take the chip. All right, these things are going to be passed through different laws and regulations. The world leaders, that is, they're giving up their power to this World Health Organization, you know, in the name of preventing another pandemic lockdown, so to speak. All right, so they've basically given up their power to these unelected officials in the WHO and the CDC, etc. You know, they're coming together for some type of plan to combat global warming, you know, all this bullshit that they use to basically scare you, all this propaganda that they use to make you feel like these are the only people to solve this problem. You need these people to fix the world before we all die. You know, that's how they scaring you. And see, that's one of his evil schemes right there, using fear to motivate. You know, it's a lot of things, man. Pressure from above, pressure from beneath. They could also call it self-fulfilled prophecy. The revelation of the method. You know, it's a lot of different names of these little schemes that they use. You know, these little techniques, psyops, etc. But when they when they implement this RFID chip, it's just going to be made mandatory, all right, by the penalty of death. That's why I say you got to really read Revelation 13 from 1. But for the sake of time, I mean, the apostles have went into it many times, so I'm just getting straight to the point on verse 16, all right, which is by the time where they're going to make it mandatory. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. One of the biggest clues, when you click on that word mark, if you have a concordance, the blue letter or olive tree, or whatever app you use, you go to that word in the Greek for mark, right? It's charagma. It's a physical thing. It's an imprinted mark. It also gives an example as if the mark branded upon horses. So this is something physical, and it's basically a mark of ownership. You know, it's not a spiritual thing. It's not you subscribing to the so-called white man's ways and his religion. It's not that. That would be more like worshiping the beast. All right, because it's a part. It's a thing that's in parts. You know, it says those that worship the beast in his image and took the mark. So obviously, if you worship the beast in his image, you don't see nothing wrong with a microchip implant. You know, you think that his ways are righteous and pure, and you can't see that there's an evil scheme behind it. There's an evil agenda and a very ominous, you know, how they call it, the dystopian nightmare. You know, that was from George Orwell. That quote, dystopian society or dystopian nightmare. So, which basically is the opposite of a utopia. Dystopia is basically, the New World Order is basically a world of just suffering. You know how they already said, you will own nothing and be happy. You know, so once again, you got people that basically worship the beast in his image, which goes into dealing with, you know, his ideologies and what he pushes out. You know, his medical things, his religious things, his banking system. Everybody believes that this is the proper and right way to do things. All right, so they're going to subscribe to taking this chip. It says for all people, both small and great, rich and poor, everybody. All right, multitudes of people. This is talking about basically different social classes of citizens in the world. All right, so he's going to cause them to do it, meaning he's going to make it a law. Like I said, that word charagma in the Greek is basically a mark of branding. You know, so it's a physical mark that you have to show that proves that, you know, you worship the beast in his image, that you are a slave to the New World Order and ultimately to the elites, you see? So you're going to have the brain chip implant, you're going to have the regular rice grain that goes in your hand. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So obviously it's a physical mark because you can't buy and sell with sin. Okay, you can't buy and sell with by you saying you believe in something. I believe in this with my mind, and with my right hand I enact it and I subscribe upon it. Nah, man, that's not how this works. You need money. All right, you buy and sell with money. It's that simple. You buy and sell with Federal Reserve notes. If you're in America, you buy and sell with any or every central bank currency throughout the world, wherever you at. If you're in India, or if you're in Russia, you got the ruble, or then you're gonna have the digital ruble, and then eventually, what's gonna be the only way to use that digital ruble? By way of the chip. That's what it's talking about. That's what John saw. He saw people using RFID technology through microchips for everyday transactions. Okay, and you people, you're not gonna upset this vision. You fucking false prophets, you're not gonna deceive the elect, all right? And you're not going to push some false vision of it being sin, and that's actually going to come to pass. You're going to go in the store, well, have you sinned today? You know, what's the sins that you commit?
How you doing?
I'm all right. That's not going to happen. You know, it's going to be palm readers everywhere, palm scan readers. All right, RFID technology, also with 5 and 6G. You're going to have that set up all over the world. All right, to where, like it says, if you don't have that chip, you won't be able to buy and sell, because there's not going to be a cash register. There's not going to be no more cash. So how else are you going to buy and sell unless you have CBDC? How are you going to possess CBDC and use CBDC without some type of digital device if it's a digital currency? All right, you people just don't get it. You know, you think the phones is going to be here forever. You think all these things is just forever, and this was all just conditioning you for the chip. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much the point. The number of his name, 666, is going into his UPCs. All right, his which that number obviously has a vibration, but in every barcode in the world, every UPC code, you have those numbers embedded within every one of them. All right, besides the other unique numbers, they all have 666, a standard code. All right, computer code, if you will, from when you scan it with the bars. All right, so that's pretty much it, and that's what the hour of temptation is going to be all about. Because once you're saying, well, I'm not taking no microchip in my body, I'm not going to do that. Well, you won't be able to get food. How you going to eat? You see, you're going to have faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. This is why it's a time of great testing, like it says in the NLT. All right, Revelation 3 and 10 is the hour of temptation. It's going to be a time in which, even though you know it's wrong to take it, all right, you're going to be overwhelmed with what's happening around you. All right, and you're going to have thoughts of taking it, and you're going to have to fight them thoughts. All right, through faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you're going to have to fight real hard. And ultimately, you know, you just have to be one of the elect. That's the only thing that's going to protect you from not taking it, is if Yahweh Shai chose you, Yahweh Shem Yahushua chose you to be the elect and not take it. Because once you take it, you're going to be burned and destroyed, pursuant to Revelation 14, 9, and 10. So with that, I'm going to close the lesson. I hope and pray you was edified. Shalom to the elect.